There are a lot of great engines in automotive history, only a few become legends, and almost none of them were built by accident, except one. In the early 1990s, Toyota created a family of inline-six engines called the JZ. They were supposed to power luxury sedans and sports cars, to be reliable and smooth, but nothing crazy. Instead, they turned into some of the most overbuilt engines ever installed in a production car. Engines so strong that pushing them past 800 or even 1,000 horsepower became common. This is the story of how the JZ engines were created and how they accidentally became one of the biggest legends in car culture. Let's go back to the late 1980s. Japan's car industry is in a full-blown engineering arms race. Every manufacturer is trying to outdo each other with faster, more advanced performance cars. And Toyota's looking at their engine lineup and realizing they've got a problem. Their main inline-six platform at the time was the Toyota M engine family. Now, to be fair, the M engine wasn't bad. It powered earlier supermodels, it was reliable, and it got the job done. But here's the issue. It was designed in the 1960s, and by the late 80s, asking it to compete with modern turbocharged performance engines was like bringing a knife to a gunfight. It just wasn't built for what was coming next. Toyota needed something stronger, something designed for turbocharging from the ground up, something that wouldn't just survive performance, but could handle it long term. Because while Toyota was still working with the M engine, other manufacturers were moving forward fast. Nissan was developing the RB26 for their Skyline GTR. Mazda was pushing boundaries with the rotary-powered FD RX-7. And suddenly, Toyota's reliable but aging inline-six didn't look so competitive anymore. So Toyota started over, and the first result of that decision was the Toyota 1JZ GTE. Introduced in the early 1990s, the 1JZ was a 2.5-liter inline-six built from the ground up for performance. Not upgraded, not patched together, completely new. And unlike the older M engine, the 1JZ was designed for boost from day one. From the factory, the 1JZ made 280 horsepower, which doesn't sound insane by today's standards, but in the early 90s, that was serious performance. Toyota dropped this engine into cars like the Toyota Chaser, Sorora, and Mark II. Cars that weren't just fast, but became legends in drifting and street racing. But here's where things start to get interesting, because tuners quickly realized something. The 1JZ wasn't just fast, it was strong. Stronger than most people expected, but it wasn't perfect. The 2.5-liter displacement meant there was only so much power you could make before hitting limits. So Toyota had done something important. They proved the concept that they can build a strong, turbocharged inline-six that could compete. But now they wanted more. More displacement, more strength, and more potential, and that's when things went from impressive to legendary. In 1993, Toyota released the engine that would define the entire platform. At first glance, it didn't look revolutionary. Still an inline-six, still twin-turbo, but under the surface this was a completely different level. Toyota increased the displacement from 2.5 liters to 3, which meant more air, more fuel, and more potential for power. But the real story wasn't just size, it was how this engine was built. Because Toyota didn't just make it stronger, they overbuilt it. Everything about the 2JZ was designed to handle stress, and not just a little bit of stress, a lot of it. From the factory, the 2JZ made around 280 horsepower in Japan, and about 320 horsepower in export models. Respectable, but not insane. But then tuners started pushing it, and that's when everything changed. First were 500 horsepower builds, then 7, then 1,000. And the craziest part? Some of these builds were still running stock internal components. That overbuilt design, the iron block, the strong internals, the way it handled boost, all of it came together to create something rare. An engine that didn't just make power, it could survive it. And just as the 2JZ was gaining a reputation in the tuning world, it exploded into mainstream culture, thanks to the 2001 film The Fast and the Furious, and the now iconic Gen 4 Toyota Supra.
2JZ engine, no shit.
What started as a replacement for the aging M engine became something far greater than Toyota ever planned. The JZ engine didn't just meet expectations, it exceeded them by a long shot. This wasn't just an evolution of an engine, it was the creation of a platform that would go on to dominate streets, tracks, and builds all over the world. Even decades later, people are still pushing these engines to a level Toyota never intended, and somehow they keep holding together. Which raises the question, is the JZ the greatest engine ever built, or just the most overbuilt?